Back in 1971, OSHA came up with some regulations, and it came up with how can you protect workers in trenches from cave-ins.
OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. It's a federal government agency whose role is to make regulations to protect workers at any job and through any employer. Now, in this case, it dealt with a construction site, and so OSHA has very specific rules about what employers should do at construction sites. And in this case, none of those rules were followed.
The man, Rigoberto Tovar, was working in a trench at work. Trenches can be dangerous if employers don't follow the rules because they tend to collapse. What happens is the dirt collapses in and it can suffocate a worker. In this particular case, the force of the dirt actually forced him forward, knocked him down, and unfortunately he hit his head on a pipe and died from a massive head injury. One set of challenges we had to overcome, just how do we prove the case, basically with just documents and witness statements. We used an expert to set out the rules, set out the reasons for the rules. We used really good visuals and posters that show, why trenches are dangerous, what employers can do about it, what the rules are.
The defense in this case, there were a few of them, but the main one was that Rigoberto was actually the cause of his own death. And if the jury found that he was the cause of his own death, his widow would not receive compensation for his passing. And so we had to deal with the different arguments about that in this case. Ultimately, the jury was able to see through those arguments and fully compensate Mrs. Tovar.
We really had to make the case about not only the safety rules and why that's important at work, but then we had to go show the jury the value of the love.
Rigo and his widow, they'd only been married about 9 days at the time that he passed. They'd known each other for a little over a year at the time that he passed.
So we had to explain, why, even though they were only together for, less than a year and a half, they were only legally married for 9 days, why this would be a permanent effect on this woman.
This was his only heir and the only person that could bring a lawsuit on his behalf.
He, believed in her so much that she started trying to change her life for the better. She had a daughter from a previous relationship, and how he was like a dad to the daughter, and the things that he did that inspired her to this day. She's now a junior engineering student in college, coming from a family where nobody went to college, and a lot of people didn't even graduate from high school.
She lost her husband at such a young age, and her life was sort of at a standstill until she could get this behind her.
Luckily, we had the truth on our side, and we had people that could tell a very compelling story, and we got a result that I think was very fair for the case.